Greetings. Welcome to American Realism and Naturalism. My name is Beth Ritter-Guth, and I'm your instructor. I am very excited that you are here with me. We are going to be talking about literature that I love, and I hope that you will come to appreciate and love as well. So I want to give you a course tour just so that you can figure out how I do things. Everybody teaches a little bit differently, and so I want to give you a tour, a lay of the land, so that you can be successful. So if you're seeing this video, then you are in Blackboard and you already know how to navigate at least to where you are right now. But in our course, you'll see there's the Start Here button over here, and there are the weekly units. I don't have a lot in the Start Here because I have a folder in the weekly units, which you can click here, or if you get lost, you can go back here and you can find it here. And so I have a folder in here called Getting Started. And so every module is laid out the same way. So most of my students are not English majors. I would love for all of you to be English majors, but I recognize that you're not. So I don't require a million essays and papers. I have a lot of projects, a lot of discussion opportunities through a program called Flipgrid. I deliver my lectures through a program called EdPuzzle, where you take a quiz as you watch the video. And you know, the readings and the projects all handle the material that I've asked you to read. I tried to not have a lot of extra stuff that is busy work. I try to tie everything to the course objectives so that you get what you pay for when you take this class. So let's just explore one of the modules so you can kind of see. Let's look at the module for Mark Twain. So every module starts out with the goals and objectives, and then there's a warm-up activity. And that's just to get you thinking about the material that we're going to discuss. And, you know, it's usually a simple question, like in this case, like, have you read Mark Twain? Did you read Huck Finn in high school? And there are no right or wrong answers to a lot of these things. It's just your opinion. But you should put some detail in your response, just because one-line answers are not collegiate, right? So you're in college, like, write a paragraph, right? Then I have a block of reading, and you may have noticed there are no textbooks for this class, and you probably jumped with joy over the money that you saved. And that's because most everything that we read is in the public domain because it's old. So there's no need to buy textbooks if you're not an English major, because you probably might not read them again. And a lot of these are short stories that are contained within huge anthology volumes that cost like $200. And I cannot see spending $200 on something that you may not ever look at again. If you are an English major, I recommend that you'll see many of these works in anthologies you have in other classes. So if you need that physical hard copy book, you can get them. You can also print them out from here. Although I would recommend that you don't do that because that wastes a lot of paper. But if you need to, you can. All right, so you have your reading, and then you have a video quiz. And this is in a program called EdPuzzle. And if you click right here, once you've made your account after that first time, you can just click here and you can go ahead and take the quiz. Now, here is something super important. In order for the gradebook to open up in Blackboard, that I know that you've taken this quiz, once you've taken it, you have to come back here, and in the space below, you write the word complete. And I usually remind you at the end of the quiz anyway to do that. I have usually a funny thing, and watch out for Easter eggs, because there'll probably be an Easter egg in one or two of those quizzes. An Easter egg are extra credit opportunities. You don't have to do them. They don't penalize you in any way if you don't do them, but they're little extra points that I add to a grade that my cat's over here making all kinds of noise, that can help you. And I've seen it over the course of the many years I've been teaching, push somebody from a C to a B or a B to an A. So, and they're usually easy. Sometimes it's recommend a song, but there are definitely ones in the quizzes because I put them there. Then you have activities. And so each module has a different kind of activity to teach the course objective for that particular module. So when we talk about Mark Twain, we're seeing the first of what we call the dialectic writing, where he's writing in how people would speak in the South. So you have an activity about regional language, because it's important to understand regional language in order to understand the time period, because people are trying to be much more realistic in the way that they are writing literature and approaching stories. And then you have an opportunity to write like him. Mark Twain was a humorist, and so he writes funny things. So you have an opportunity to do that. And then there's always a discussion question. Now, in most of your classes, you use the discussion board. I do not use the traditional discussion board because you write for me so many other times. I actually want to see your faces, and I want you to see each other's faces, right? So that we can build a community in our class. So Flipgrid, you're going to post your response, and then you're going to respond to 2 other people in the class. Now, I want you to say more than, yo, dude, that's awesome. I want you to actually like further the conversation and have a conversation. Use that space like we would in a physical classroom where we would talk about things and discuss issues and whatnot. Then there's always an assessment at the end. And an assessment, sometimes it's quiz, most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's I want you to think about something and then apply it, something that we learned in the particular in that particular model. I want you to apply it. I just happen to know that in this one, Mark Twain really loved something that you learned about in this module, and he loved technology. He was friends with Nikola Tesla. So you're going to look at current technologies that are on our cutting edge, including the work done by Elon Musk and his Tesla, and and make a chart or a graph of how you think Twain would respond to the different technologies that are hot right now: AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, etc., etc. So every module is mapped out this way. And so once you get the hang of it, the due dates are in here. I don't take late work. It's in the syllabus. The reason I don't take late work is because I have a very generous and notorious revision policy. I do not want you to fail this class, and I want you to get a grade that you are happy with. So if you turn something in that would not pass, I give it a grade of 1. It's not a grade, it's a placeholder. That 1 says, I've made comments, I've sent it back to you to be revised. You turn it back in, we work together until it gets a passing grade. A passing grade is a 60. However, I don't want to sometimes start you off with a 60, because after you get a grade, once you get a numerical grade from me, then you can revise it again for 10 more points. But if I give you something that's a 60, the highest you could get is a 70. So sometimes I'll give you a 1 grade because I want you to get the best grade possible, in that first graded version, and then work for those 10 extra points. So because of that, I have work coming in all the time. There are, I think, 30 of you in this class. So if I had you turning in your work whenever you wanted to, I couldn't possibly maintain the paperwork coming in. So that's why there are definite due dates. A module is usually, it's always a week, and everything is due on Sunday night. I check my email several times a day. I check it on my phone. You have my cell number and remember, please text me, don't call me, because I won't pick up if I don't know your number. And I really only pick up for like 4 people, like my husband, like my best friend, and my children, and sometimes my mother-in-law if I'm in a good mood, right? So, just kidding. So I only pick up the phone if I know the number. So text me first, tell me that you're a DeSales student, and then I'll call you back. And then I'll have you on my phone as a student, and then I'll pick up from then on. But I often keep my phone off because I work a lot, and I'm often in spaces where I can't have my phone on, so I usually have it on vibrate. So, keys to being successful in this class: stay on top of the work. If you have questions, and you will, right? Because who knows how to do any of this stuff, right? If you have questions, just ask me. Send me an email. Ask me if you need some help. Spend time working with the material, right? Spend time reading. I've tried not to overload you with too much reading. So read the stuff that I've given you. We have one novella that we're reading called Maggie, A Girl of the Streets, 60 pages long. It's the longest thing you read, right? So you can get this reading done. You can do this work. I also am aware that there are things called Cliff Notes, and I know how to check plagiarism in a multiple variety of ways. So, do not copy the work of others. Do your own work, because the worst that's going to happen to you is that I'm going to hand it back to you and say, try this again. Here's some feedback. Bring it back to me. If you cheat, I will fail you. No holds barred. If you copy work from another person, I will fail you. And you will get an F in this class, because it's not honest and it isn't the Salesian way. we consider integrity very important at DeSales. So don't cheat. There's no need to. There's no need to cheat. And some people say, well, I ran out of time. Get something down. Get anything down in your own words, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to revise it. Get something out there and get it in on time, and then I'm going to give you a chance to revise it. There is no need ever to cheat. I'm here to support you. If you're a student with accommodations, please reach out to me so that I can provide them to you. We only have one exam in the course, and that is a requirement of DeSales to have a final exam. I'm going to talk about it later in the semester, but pretty much you're going to write a detailed outline before you get to the final exam, and then when you get to the final exam, you're going to write the essay. But we'll talk about that later. I give you the exam a week in advance so that you can prepare for it. It's open book. You can bring anything you want with you. The only thing you can't do is write it ahead of time, and you can't leave once you start it. So that's the lay of the land. This is how the course works. We have an excellent library staff that can help you with the research projects that we do. When the research is required, if you get stuck, please reach out to them. If you're not a strong writer, please utilize the services of our writing lab. They're awesome. They're not going to edit your work, but they'll give you guiding principles. And most of the time what I'm looking for is for you to support your work. A lot of the stuff that I ask you for is opinions. So have an opinion and then support what you're saying. And then if there's research involved, either use MLA or APA. I'll take either one. Or I'll take Chicago Manual of Style if anybody's out there still using that. As long as you're using a documentation system, I'll allow it. But make sure that you're citing where you get work from. You're paraphrasing, summarizing, and quoting correctly. Those three terms are new to you. Definitely sign up for a tutor because you'll need to do those three things on your work. All right. I look forward to working with you. I'm so excited that we get to read some really interesting things in this class. And I hope that when we're done, it seems like forever from now, but it's going to go by really quickly. I hope by the end of this course that you have an appreciation and a love for this time period in American literary history. All right, be well, Padawan, and I will see you soon in our first module about the American Dream.